Director of Hall County Department of Corrections, Todd Bahinsky, says that the tablets will improve workflow by condensing the amount of paperwork. Spencer, the Madrigals were only one of 3 schools selected to perform, and they were the only school outside of the Omaha Metro. As soon as school resumed, they started practicing. Yo says most high school choirs learn 3 songs by October. This group will be learning 8 for their performance on Saturday. Spencer, maybe Local 4 can have a small ensemble. Casey, although there aren't many vendors physically here, there are approximately products from 15 different vendors here at the Christmas market. Now, as you mentioned, this is one of the newer traditions in Hastings, but owner Kara Parter says that people can count on this tradition being something happening every year. The National Weather Service says that we can see anywhere between 5 to 9 inches of snow. Now, that snow will be accumulating over the day, making visibility hard, and also it will be making travel conditions slick. Adams County Emergency Management Director Ron Pugh says when it comes to a storm, you should always be prepared for the worst. In this case, the emergency management team is prepared for an all-out blizzard. They met with officials within the county to ensure they're ready for all challenges ahead. Pugh says based on how the wind blows, some roads can become impossible to use for travel, which is why he's urging people to stay off the road.
Don't go out if you have to. If you do go out and you're in blizzard conditions or serious conditions like we're facing, make sure you let somebody know where you're going, the route you're taking, and call them when you get there so that everyone knows that they're safe.
Pugh says if you get stranded in your vehicle in a blizzard, you should stay in your vehicle and wait for help. He also says you should fill your gas tank before traveling in these conditions, and no matter the location, you should treat every road as if it's dangerous to use for travel. Pugh says the blizzard is now expected to fizzle out by Tuesday morning. He hopes that's the case because Tuesday will be a prime day for people traveling back home from Christmas gatherings. But for now, enjoy the snow and have a Merry Christmas. Reporting from Hastings, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News. A new form of planting has entered central Nebraska and is in the form of wool pellets. Wool pellets hold 3 times their weight in water and release healthy nutrients into your soil, such as nitrogen and potassium. Landis Murphy says wool pellets work great in times of drought. She says they are 8% nitrogen and 4% potassium, adding plants will come out bigger and healthier.
I use a 2-step manufacturing process. So first up is a wool shredder. So we take the raw fleece, we don't clean it at all. We put it through the wool shredder and it slices up the fleece into more manageable pieces for a pellet mill. So then the pellet mill is the second step. So it condenses the wool with a roller and die plate mechanism.
Landis Murphy says once that process is complete, you have a wool pellet. She says she gets through 40 pounds of wool per hour, but her ambition doesn't end with operating out of her garage.
Right now, we're a pretty small operation, but we would like to grow into more like market farmers, like small-scale vegetable producers, so they use like 100-foot beds.
Landry Murphy says she worked with another farm last year and her wool pellets produce more than ordinary growing seeds. Landis Murphy chose the name Kestrel Ridge because Kestrel is a small falcon, and just like her, is small but mighty. Reporting from Lawrence, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News. A decision that was years in the making is finally on its way to Lincoln. The Hall County Board of Commissioners passed a motion to submit a courthouse plan to the state. When they review courthouse renovations and expansions, they look at the size, space, functioning style, and clerk's office space. Working with the judges is a huge part of this process.
It's very important. It's very important to get their input on. Those judges are the ones that are going to be utilizing that day in and day out. And so it really needs to be part of the process so that they know the functionality of the court will work.
Corey Steele says the process of reviewing plans has gone on for several years in Hall County. He says sometimes the process is quick, but this plan is only in stage 1.
We're were required to submit in 3 different stages stated within the Nebraska Court Facility Planning Guidelines and Standards. So we're maintaining communication with the administrative office of the courts throughout that process. And so they're going to give us feedback. They acknowledge that compromise is inevitable.
Steve Severson says they're working closely with the judges because ultimately they'll tell them if they're heading in the right direction. And the judge's decision is law. Reporting from Grand Island, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News. When it comes to Hastings Unlimited, score sheets don't matter. Director of Vocal Music Christian Yost says even though he has worked with a lot of the students in Hastings Unlimited, it wasn't enough to know what their individual strengths are, while at the same time learning students he hasn't worked with. Yost has to find out what their capabilities were, because some are mobile and some aren't. He explains what was the biggest challenge.
So I think the biggest learning curve was figuring out how to create a group that each student could be successful at their own level and with their own strengths. And that took a couple weeks to kind of figure out. I had to get to know the kids and get to know what they were comfortable with.
Yost says the best showcase of that was when they had solo auditions and every kid wanted to audition by themselves to sing a solo. Now, if you think this choir is just an activity for these kids, you can think again.
We are all best friends, and we actually have really amazing students, friends. We probably pretty good at it, and I hope we actually have this bond with each other, and it's really special to me.
Grace says she likes show choir because she gets to sing and dance. Reporting from Hastings, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News.